Hello, hello, BFABU tribe. This is Maria, your health and wellness and fitness coach. So I'm here today to talk a little bit about this Oaxaca's law that they're banning the sale of junk food and sugary drinks to children. And this is a state in Mexico, and if I'm correct, it's about 3.5 million people in that state. And I was in a discussion, not a conversation, with another group of wellness coaches, and this article came up. I had already read it, and we got into some conversations. The U.S. has got to do this, and my reply was, I don't think this is happening anytime soon anywhere in the U.S. Maybe California, maybe New York. They're more pro-health. It seems like the first states to move forward with that stuff. But I would like to, I brought some notes over here because it's, I want to bring this home because this is so important, and I really applaud this state in Mexico to do it, because I think that is going to be serving as an example to the U.S. and to the world. This is a serious problem. So Oaxaca is the second poorest state in Mexico. Right? And Mexico as a whole has surpassed the United States in obesity and overweight. It's 73% of the population. And the US is just under it. And this is a serious problem. So this state, decided to, the Congress was very happy when this came to pass, this ban. Now, there was a lot of controversy. There was a lot of issues with the population on the ground. They were against it. There was protests to do this. Now, note that Mexico in 2014, they increased the sugary drinks, the prices of the sugary drinks by 1 peso, which was about 10% of the price. And so they've done some studies. The consumption of sugary drinks has decreased. And not to the same level of 10%, but has decreased. So anything between, 5 to 7% as I've seen it, based on the statistics out there that I read. But, so this, why is Mexico, or I want to say Mexico, but it's basically one state, right, that is doing this in Mexico. But our relate here is Mexico is doing this because the obesity rates are huge. Let me read some of this stuff for you. So, and this is the U.S. again, is not far, okay? So the prevalence in the obesity, overweight and obesity is 16.7% in preschool children. In the US, by the way, based on the CDC of 2015 and 16 data, so it's a few years old now, it was 13.9. Mexico, 26.2, and between the ages of 6 and 11. The US, 17.4. And 30.9 in the adolescents in Mexico, and here in the US, 20.6. So obesity in adults is 39.8 in the United States, and overall obesity and overweight is 71.6, which is Mexico is 73%. Now, this is a serious problem, as far as children. What is Mexico is trying to do is to get the root cause, right? If you start changing the behaviors of the children, then there is less likelihood of getting into obesity, great on in life. And this is a cost to the state, cost to the country, cost to population, cost to the families, to everybody. It's not only about the financial cost, but it's really the quality of life, obviously, of individuals. And here's what I think, that, is happening here is government was happy over there that this passed. The population was not. Why is that? Look, I don't know if you've been to Mexico, but this is also, is the second poorest state in Mexico. So you're talking about low income. And, junk foods and sugary foods are, they're low cost. And it's something that is something that is going to make you feel good, right? Well, people want to feel good when everything else's life is not very well. And that doesn't matter if it is in Mexico, the US, Brazil, I don't care where it is the same. The brain is the same. So now increasing. So in Mexico also, I've traveled to Mexico multiple times. There is a lot of street vendors. So now you're talking about, you know, the mom of the kid, whatever, passing by, the mom wants a little Coke or wants the junk food, and the street vendor, you know, is not technically legally supposed to sell that to that mother who has a kid in there. Now, they're not banning street vendors from selling this stuff. They you cannot just sell directly to the kid, right? Now, how are they going to control that? I'm not quite sure. Will that minimize the sales? Probably will reduce the sales. Why were the people again angry? Is because it's cutting off their freedom, obviously, now. So I should be able to use my money and buy whatever I want. Now, why does the government, I think, sometimes get into the middle of this? It gets into the middle of this becomes when it becomes public health, you know, an impact to the public health. And when we're talking about this level of obesity, it is a public health where it's beyond you and I over here. We gotta, you know, we are a society and we are on this together. So we gotta care for each other. And if people are not doing that on their own, that's where I see certain governments sometimes coming in and dive into the issue. And I think that's what happened there. Now the people didn't like it for, you know, my guesses, as I mentioned, why. Taking of freedom, and also, you know, it's something good that they like it. Who wants to be taking something good they like it without really not understanding, especially if they're poor and less educated, what is really doing for their future as individuals, and especially at the children. Look, if you have a certain habit at home, and let's say that you as an adult, and you buy the junk food, you buy the you know, the sugary beverages, and you do all those things that are, you know, that as an adult is not, you know, that is not good for you. Now you have children around, they're growing up with those same things, and once they have access to it, they're going to continue to consume. They're going to consume over time. It's just like that issue, right? I know there's nothing in point here, but I see this. If you go out to eat, and here in the US, and you know that the servers are normally, they make money by getting tips, right? So servers don't make more than $2-3 an hour, right? A lot of people don't know that, but that's the reality. So if you as a child see your parents not tipping when they go on, that's what's going to happen. You're not going to be tipping anybody. So it just goes on from generation to generation until somebody in a family got into the industry, or maybe your son or daughter got into the industry, and like, oh my God. So it's the same thing over here. It's the same thing here, where with the habits that these kids grow up, you know, they're going to carry with themselves. And that, you know, as children, they don't have much of a voice as a choice. They're not buying, they're not making those decisions, right? So they're going to go on, and they're, like we said, these rates both in Mexico and the United States are pretty insane. Can you imagine, you know, the diabetes rate, obesity rate, overweight, cardiovascular, dementia, all those things that come from a high consumption of, you know, junk food, and especially sugar. This is in everyday's diet. That's why I'm so passionate about educating people on, you know, how to adjust their nutrition so they can actually get to the bottom of it, and not continue to, you know, create this snowball side effect that is impacting children from their age, from the moment they're born, basically, and they start getting fed outside the breastfeeding to, you know, later on in life. So I applaud what Mexico is doing over here, or this state, and I hope that the US is going to take a quick look, and so is the world. My country, Brazil, the rates of obesity is pretty huge as well. But I think Mexico is first, the US is second. I'm not quite sure where Brazil is, but it's one of the top 5, I'm pretty sure. And so, you know, these are, you know, when you compare, you know, countries like Brazil and Mexico to the US, in some ways it's not kind of fair, because the income power is much higher over here in this country, in the US. The education is much higher in the United States, right? So it's not like the lack of education or possibilities that is a problem here. You know, in countries like Mexico and Brazil, you know, less education, less better decisions, I guess, for a lack of a better say, are going to be made. And so you're going to be influenced, by the news or by marketing a lot easier than anything else. Than you actually going and seeking for the right information. So the U.S. is a highly educated population, but is still going to the eating habits and drinking habits that are really not healthy for them. So the obesity rates over here, you were to think that is like, why is this happening? Very highly educated individuals compared to countries like Mexico and Brazil. But anyway, I thought that I would just share this because it is important, folks, that we continue to stay tuned to what we eat, to how, the quality of our sleep, to how we're managing our stress, to the beverage that we're choosing to drink. But it's not only for us as adults, but for the children. Really, it breaks my heart to see this everywhere. Obviously, I'm not going out as much, but I do see still when I do go out, and I'm saying this because of the pandemic, the children are still being fed, the junk foods are still being fed, the sugary drinks, and there is no need for it. Yes, maybe there is a battle if they started, but there is also that thing. If we want to care, we all care, okay? Not if we want to care. We all care for the health of children. We all understand that the future of any nation relies on on these children being raised, right? So now, what are we going to do about it? Can we think a little bit beyond, the today, or if I like to eat this, or I want to drink this, because we know that the sugar and the junk is really impacting our brain, and that's our brain saying, I love this. This is not, if we just think about the relationship between the brain and how the sugar and the junk food, which has a lot of that, has sugar and other chemicals that creates, this dopamine release. If we just think about that, every time we're going to consume, that's why I like this, we're going to make better decisions, for our children and for ourselves, right? And look, I'm single, I don't have children, but whenever I can, I like to educate, whatever those who like to hear about this kind of truth, because it's really telling the truth. It has to be said. It has to be said. So this needs to change, okay? This kind of stuff needs to change. Now, when my discussion earlier in this, Facebook dialogue that I was having with other health coaches, when I said, I don't believe I will see the change that we need in my lifetime, my generation, it's because change like this depends on the people, okay? The people really fighting for what is best. Once we have people, everybody united to get something, we get it. What I don't see that happening anytime soon. Look at the pandemic right here, right? To me, and again, this is my opinion, right? The way I see it seems like the majority of the population is still waiting on this vaccine, right? To be solved, the problem to be solved in a vaccine. Look, we've had basically 5 months of sitting inside the houses over here where every freaking indication from, I have shared some, other functional doctors are sharing, there's books, you can educate yourself the way you want. It's clear, it is very clear, okay, that the way that we take our lifestyle, the way that we lead our lifestyle from a health perspective has a great correlation with, the cases of this virus and the healing process as well, right? So we're talking about, overweight and obese people have a higher chance of getting this. This is because of the fat cells, and there is virus, there's things that get into the fat cells. So the discussion is much bigger than what I meant to talk over here. But I'm just saying is, now the body gets weak, okay? With junk food and sugar especially, right? It impacts our insulin levels because our cells get resistant to it. And that is going to impact the health of every single cell. And that's going to weaken our system in general. When we're talking about improve our immune system, we're talking about improving our gut health. We're talking then, what do we do about that? Is the quality of the food that we ingest, the types, the macronutrients, how balanced they are, right? Our sleep, which is fundamental for us to make decisions, what we're gonna eat and how much we're gonna exercise. Exercise that is gonna keep our brain healthy and body also healthy in every aspect as well. And stress, because the stress, it basically breaks down our digestive system. So how many people have you met or during this pandemic that have taken serious consideration to turning their health upside down, right? To be more protective, not only of now, but also later? I haven't met many. Yes, I have met people who start walking more, and that's great. They start exercising, they're changing their habits a little bit, exercising from home. As a trainer, I've been coaching and training people for more than 3 years online. So, people can still see me in person, but I've been doing this online. So the people who really want to take their health seriously, they don't care where they're going to be doing that from and when, right? They know that's time for change. And despite all these issues that are going on, they're saying this is a catastrophe, is health-wise, we gotta look for ourselves, and then looking at ourselves, we're also looking for the health of others around us. A very small percentage of people are actually looking into changing the core habits, lifestyle habits that impact their health. So, going back to Mexico, I applaud the state of Oaxaca to take this stand, and I do hope that some state here in the United States, maybe New York, maybe it's going to be California, I don't care which state, is going to take a quick look at that and is going to start doing this, right? Because I think that when we population are maybe out of whack, we need to be assisted, we need to be coached sometimes. And sometimes, the government has to come in here and say, this is public health, because this level of obesity and, it's catastrophe for our nation, right? Then the government gets involved into that when we don't. But I really hope that more people continue to speak up, okay? So people stop doing this, okay? What I mean is that once you keep your ears shut and your eyes shut, you're not going to see it, right? Now, then we choose a lot of times to do this, because when we choose to do this, we actually don't have to take action. We don't know what we're missing out, or what we have to do. So it's some way, a way to stay behind and say, oh, well, but then somebody mentions, look, it's planting the seeds. I'm here planting the seeds to you and to whoever else wants to listen. Right? I plant the seeds. Sometimes I collect. I collect by actually getting somebody to say, Maria, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. Let's do this thing. Let's work on my digestion. Let's work on my blood sugar. Let's work on my exercise. Let me work on my nutrition. Maria, I need some mindset shift. Look, I will work with you in that state. But it has to be the right time for you. So when is the right time? So we cannot stop speaking, right? We cannot stop, expressing our thoughts. And obviously, our thoughts, when it's backed up by science, is better, right? And that's what I say, in the discussion today in that blog. And I mentioned something about, this population in most of the world is still believes on doctors. Unfortunately, the doctors in this country, most of the world, are simply not educated enough to take people outside the pharma world. Right? They're great. Doctors are great when we break something, when we're catastrophe, the body's breaking down and medicines come to save the lives. Look, I've been in depression in my life, and I take antidepressant for 9 months in my life, and that helped me a lot. But I never stopped working on myself at that time. I never laid back and woo. No, I took the medication and I kept working on myself, and I was able to get out, and thank goodness never again. And this is 15 years ago. Okay? All I'm trying to say is this. Unless, we continue to speak up and doctors become more educated, where you hear about functional doctors, right? And speak up on the matters, then people are going to believe. But those doctors, they're coming along little by little. Now there's people like myself, holistic health coaches, nutrition endocrinology coaches and practitioners who are actually talking about lifestyle changes to the core of the cell, to changing your nutrition, to change your stress, to change your mindset, all those things that support. So it's, if you take, the both worlds today, that's where, and it's a health village, right? I'm not saying there's only two. It's like there is the medicine, there is the other coaches that help us, and there is therapy. Man, there is so much that we need to add to this, what I call health village, right? It's not the answer of one. Unfortunately, a lot of folks are still going for the answer that the doctor knows it all. Unfortunately, the doctor doesn't know it all. Nobody knows it all. The science continues to evolve. We have to do our part as individuals. First, we need to want to change. But here's the doctor as one set of numbers. Here's, if you get those set of numbers to me, your labs, I will do what is called a functional blood chemistry analysis. And I'm telling you, there's going to be differences. And you take that report and you discuss to your doctor's open-minded, then we can start making changes. Then we can combine, then you add, like I do, like a genetic testing, and you start understanding your genes and how you're predisposed to certain things. You combine that with functional blood chemistry analysis, and with your drive to be healthier, shit will change. You will change, okay? And the lives around you will change. You will surround yourself of that good stuff and good people, and you're going to motivate others. All right, but you need to want to change. So I'm here planting the seed today, hopefully, that you heard from me. Then you're gonna hear from another corner, another corner, another corner. And if you need to change, at some point, you will, when it's the right time. And I hope that time is sooner than later, but it's never, ever, ever too late to change. So congrats to Oaxaca in Mexico for doing this. I do hope that they see the changes they want. Okay, so we, the rest of the world, can actually start mimicking this. And let me see, there is some comment over here. Let me read what I see in Facebook. So Heather is saying, here in the United States, we need to drastically improve the National Nutrition Program. Agree 100%, Heather. What children are offered to eat in public school, government-supported food programs is really awful. Agree. I've done like sessions in school, kind of what do you call it? It's some program they bring outsiders to talk about their careers. A career day. I'm sorry, that's it. Career day. And talking about health with those kids, and then I go to the lunch room, right, to the break room, and I see what they're being fed, and I'm like, holy moly, right? So you're right. So as a foster parent, okay, Heather, thanks for doing that. I see littles completely addicted to sugar. Yes. Look, Heather, let me tell you this. It gets me insane. I know what I'm saying over here might backfire on me, but I'm speaking this with so much in my heart. I see the kids, less than a year old, 2 years old, 3 years old, with bowls of ice cream being fed. And I'm talking about a lot of it, and cakes and all that. Listen, folks, I hate to say this. This is not doing any good for the memory, especially of that kid. They don't remember of that. What it was doing is actually damaging the development of that child. Okay? So yes, they grow up addicted. And you see that with pasta too, Heather, if you're still listening. You might agree with that. I see sometimes the kids being bowl of pasta and they're shoveling down. What is this? This is the addictive, part of the foods that are, and unfortunately, that are being fed to the children at home and at school, So what else you say over here? So your little ones are addicted to sugar and on meds by age five, right? Yes, we cannot forget also there is some genetics behind it. And I've been reading some books about fat metabolism and things like that. And there is, obviously the cases are very small, but there is some dysfunction sometimes that happens on the cell level, and is and even from leptin, you know, not being present a lot of times in the body. There is a lot of certain dysfunctions that happen to that level that these kids are in serious trouble at that age. But to your point, look at this. I'm going to repeat here. US CDC 2015 to 16 data. Ages 2 to 5, 13.9 obesity. I mean, this is insane, right? 17.4 between the ages of 6 to 11. Yes, I can see that. Imagine if you don't take control of these kids now. And maybe medication is part of it, but I wonder what's going on inside the house. What led? Is there any habits that we gotta change inside that house? Can we adults get to the level of saying, you know what, I'm going to change for my child, right? I'm going to change for also to leave a legacy. I'm going to start my legacy right here, because transformation is possible. So let me see what else Heather says. As a people, we have to demand better for our future. When I own a home, daycare, oh, I didn't know you did that, Heather, and approved by state, they told me, look, they told me ketchup is an approved fruit serving. No joke. Oh my God. Are you serious, Heather? You serious? Ketchup is an approved fruit serving? This is insane. Look at the content of sugar in ketchup, and look at how much ketchup people put in their foods. Now, what is even more insane, look at the barbecue sauce that is everywhere, that people put in every food as well, almost like ketchup, you know, becomes like the amount of sugar it's in there, right? Plus all the other foods that have the cereals, the chocolate milks, and the breads, and the loaves, and the pantries. This is everywhere. This is insane. I mean, so we got to do something, folks. We got to do something. And it starts from each one of us. You know, so if the government comes, we don't like when people comes above us, you know, and the government tells us, oh, it's communism, it's whatever, you know, whatever you call it. But, you know, certain things sometimes are necessary because we population are not gathering together and doing something that needs to be done. It starts with us. And if we're, for some reason we can't, because let me tell you, addiction is a serious issue. Look, I told many of times, I was a sugar addict, severe sugar addict, compulsive. And look, understanding my brain, how it's weak in dopamine, serotonin, and so on, I understand why it's so easy for me to, you know, eat certain foods, anything related to sugar actually, and get so happy and want more and more and more and more, because light up the dopamine, I want to feel good, right? So I know that is a fact, that is a problem with my genes. So what am I doing to go against that? It says I don't want to poke with sugar, I don't want to do that. So I exercise, I do writing, I do, you know, I go in my grass area over here, walk barefoot, I do several other things that bring kind of, you know, gratitude to me, that makes me feel good about myself. I talk to people, you know, I help others. And actually the thing that really helps me the most is when I help others. And I think that's one of the things that after I transform my own, you know, health, and was able to control this addiction, right? And I says, man, if I can help other people to do the same, you know, that's what led me to do what I'm doing today, because that's, I help myself and then I go to help others, and you see the empowerment that there is. It is very powerful, okay, when you do that. Now, but the addiction is a serious, so when we're talking about, you know, getting rid of this, it's not easy. There is addiction, you know, people, you know, are addicted to the sugar, to the junk, to the carbs, right? Addicted to alcohol, all those things. Then in order to replace this would mean what? That people would have to do practically what I did, you know, which is dive deep into your big why over here. Why is important for you to change? And it says, okay, I'm going to start educating myself. Education first. Okay, second is I got to start applying. But applying is hard. Why do I want to do that? Well, because I have this big why. There is a legacy I want to live. There's things I want to do in my life. I want to stay independent. All those things, okay, led me to do what I did. This is a deep conversation that each one of us have to have. Is everybody ready for that? I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure if everybody's ready for that conversation, because it's a serious one. And once you have this conversation and you say, what do I need to do to change then? So I am a healthier individual, that I'm choosing better, that I'm replacing this sugar addiction, carb addiction, alcohol addiction with actually something that is going to add more natural energy to me, that I'm going to feel more energized, that I'm going to feel more compelled to more productive, compelled to do greater things with my time, my 24 hours. By the way, that 24 hours, part of it is sleep. A big part of it should be sleep, right? And so on. So this is a conversation that we have to have. And it's from an individual level, then to the family level. I feel like it, to me, was in some ways is easier to do for myself. I was only had to talk to me. Now, taking the action, being by myself, that was pretty hard. That was hard. But you know what? There is no gratification. There is no great stuff to achieve. Is not uphill. And I said, I'm going to go uphill because I believe there is something great at the top of that mountain. And I'm here to encourage people to do the same by educating, guiding them, and being the source of accountability, support, and tools, whatever they need, because this is a journey. And I can go back to my addiction in a heartbeat, okay? I know exactly what can I do or what I need, or don't need to get back in there, right? So if I don't sleep well, yes, I'm not going to be prone to exercise as much, and I'm going to be making poorer decisions regarding my choices. Although I don't have any junk in my house. You come over here, you're not going to see any junk in my fridge, in my pantries. You're not going to see that because I learned that, I have to stay away from that stuff. And that I do that for my own well-being, for my mental sanity. Okay, I fought for years and years and years. Oh, I can buy this and I can have this and I don't have it. I'll hide it. Look, all sorts of damn strategies I had to not consume those foods that lit up my dopamine and keep me happier artificially. No, it doesn't happen that way. You put food, you put good nutrition in your body, then you're going to feel less compelled. That you good sleep, that is the base of them all. And you put strategies to control your stress. So those are 4 essentials, pillars of health that we have to take care of it. But the reality is, if we don't have the mindset that this is where we believe, that is the best direction to take our lives, because there is a grand prize, at the end, we're not going to do it. So the mindset that we wake up every morning, the power that we give to ourselves by reading books, by educating, by surrounding ourselves with things that is going to get us to the destination. This is, it's important to have that mindset, because, when things get tough, because life is tough, it's going to get tough. There's ups and downs. Nobody is immune to that. So we have to maintain strength. We have to have our health, physical, emotional, and mental to attack these things, right? And to get it. And it says, yes, I can do it. I'm going to make better choices. And that comes with having strong foundational health. Waiting until we're weak to get it up and running, we're behind. Can we do it? Yes, we can do it. But I'm saying is, if we start, any catastrophe, any pandemic, any life event that is bringing so much stress to us in a healthier state, we'll be better off to combat it and come out of it faster and heal faster as well. Nobody's immune. If God says, Maria, you're going to go by cancer, it doesn't matter how healthy I eat or this and that, but I'll tell you that my quality of life during that stage, before, during, is going to be heck better than a person who is not. And that's what I'm batting to, because then I have the time, to say my goodbyes, to do the things that I want, and to, instead of being in so much pain that I see, folks who start with a disease that are going to, either a scarcity or a cancer, a stroke or whatever, that they're in a unhealthy state. And it's a battle, right? So hey, if that's my destiny, so be it. I'm going to do whatever I can right now to control that. And that is, I'll do my best every day to feel good, right? And that feeling good is physical, mental, and emotional, and is by doing a few 5 pillars, basically. My mindset, the way I wake up every day, and everything to keep my mindset positive, a positive outlook in life, my nutrition, my exercise, my sleep, and my, anxiety, stress, whatever you want to call it. Those are things that we gotta, bit by bit address. And there are times that we need more help in one area versus the other. Sometimes we say, yeah, I got this, I got it. Certain strategies can take us far away. Other things we might need a little bit more help, right? So we gotta have that check-in. We gotta see what is going on with us internally. We have to have that come to Jesus conversation that I had, about almost 10 years ago, right? And this might be the day for you today, maybe not, maybe the day for somebody else, but I'm sure that there is some come to Jesus conversation happening every day. I just wish there's more of those every day happening. And so let me see, Heather, how to say something else if she added. I believe there are publications showing the sugar stimulates the same patterns in the brain as cocaine. Now, Heather, I'm telling you, the publications exist. You don't have to believe they exist, but is 8 times more than cocaine and heroin. It's more. That's what I told my sister years ago. When we're talking to about my addiction to sugar and all that. And I said, sis, I'm grateful that I never have been exposed to any drugs like cocaine or heroin. Look, I came from Brazil. I was 21. I've never, been in front of any drugs. I've never smelled any drugs. I was so naive. And I'm 40, I'm almost 46. I'm still very naive. I've still never seen cocaine, heroin, and drugs in my friend. I smell, marijuana, and I hate it. I cannot tolerate it. And let me tell you, because I say that because if I were to try any of these drugs that are less even potent than sugar, okay, I would be dead because I had absolutely no control, on my sugar. I used to go and buy these boxes of Mike and Ike and things like hot tamales, and it's the worst kind of sugar there is, right? And I would eat in front of the supermarket, sitting in my car a lot of times. And I would buy chocolate, all kinds of stuff. And then I would get the message, you're done, because I would eat, and I would even get tired sometimes of chewing those things. And I would get that signal that says, you're done. And then I would look and it says, well, I'm not done yet. I still have more over here. So my mind says, well, if I finish this, then I don't have it at home. So I was like, in a way, trying to get around it, right? This addiction. But then I would go and do the same thing every day. So I would finish the thing. I didn't need it. I knew I didn't want it, and I didn't want it. I didn't have to have, I was satisfied in a way after eating a ton of it, but I still kept going, right? Now, sugar doesn't kill you like an overdose of cocaine or heroin. Sugar is going to kill you slowly. And I'm talking about sugar, not only the nasty sugar, simple sugar that I was eating, but it's the same applies to simple carbs, from the pizzas, from the breads, from the pastas, right? It's simple carbs, they transform rapidly into that glucose that is going to raise that glucose in your body very quickly. Not as quickly as this high in corn fructose syrup that I used to have, and this nasty candies and stuff that is basically everywhere now. But I says, I'm grateful that I never tried any of that and never will, especially knowing myself, the way that my brain works over here. So yes, so you are, I want to say that is not the same patterns, is actually worse, the addiction level. Yes, it explains the seriousness of this addiction. It is correct. And look, during the daytime when I used to work in corporate, I used to have pretty bad habits as far as my sleeping, and I was very stressed out at work most of the time. And people would say, oh, you have so much energy, and it says, and I look, I look in hindsight, I didn't have freaking energy. I didn't have natural energy. I had fake stimulative energy, because once I got at work, what did I do with 3 hours of sleep, 4 hours, 6 hours, whatever it is, or even wait, didn't matter. I would go to the coffee full of caffeine and full of then sugary, the hazelnut, whatever kind of sugary things that we put on that. I used to like a lot of that hazelnut, and then in the morning I would have a few times, a couple coffees like that, and then a lot of times you would see pastries, you would see junk, or the offices, I don't know about you, but every office environment that I've worked in my career, has people with candies and all. I would go and chip away, I would go and eat, and then my lunch was terrible quality of food as far as, not balanced. So I wouldn't eat enough either. So I would go again. And after lunch, between lunch and dinner time, I would eat sometimes between 6 to 7 times. And I say dinner times, really, I really rarely have any dinner. It was basically, I would be eating about every 2 or 3 hours. I would people who make fun of me, about how often I was in the kitchen eating. Folks, this is so unhealthy, right? So, there is the myth out there about, oh, you gotta eat multiple times for metabolism. That's so much crap, okay? And I've spoken about this before. If you have questions about it, I'll be glad to answer, but no, okay? This fueling up for metabolism is the incorrect thing to do and say for the most people, unless you have some genetic problems or some other situations, like hypoglycemic or type 1 diabetes. You gotta make sure that your blood sugar, that you have enough glucose running in your body, or you're gonna fall apart, especially for type 1 diabetics. But what I'm saying is, this thing of fueling your body with sugar or foods, doesn't matter, only sugar, but especially sugary foods and simple carbs, from morning to evening, every 2 or 3 hours, is one of the most debilitating things you can do for your digestive system, for your immune system, for your brain health, okay, for your insulin receptors. These are little gates that are open up. Imagine your cell over here, and these receptors are poking up over here, and they're like, yeah, I want the glucose. If we damage those guys, then we don't get the glucose inside the cell. I mean, look, there is several things related to insulin resistance, which is, I love to speak about it. And I love to educate people about it, and that's one of the passions. I had prediabetes, I had insulin resistance, and all that is gone, thank goodness. But it was work, yes, and I'm very glad that I got there, because I now have my energy that is from my body, and when I don't have it, I know exactly what's going on. Not exactly what's going on, but I have a good clue, right? So did I sleep enough? Am I well hydrated? Did I am I eating foods that are actually giving me energy or zapping my energy? Am I eating foods that are actually impacting my digestive system? So meaning that when my digestive system is not working well, I'm not breaking down the foods very well, and then my body's not getting the vitamins and nutrients and minerals that it needs. You see what I'm saying? So I ask those questions, right? And then when we ask those questions, and we were then saying, okay, what do I need to do here? And these are key fundamental things that when we're embarking on a healthy lifestyle, we can take ownership. We can do things about this. And if you say, you know what, I don't have all the knowledge, I don't have all the experience, well, that's why people like me exist and many others, to help you get there. So seek the help. The thing is, have the conversation with yourself, do a self-assessment. What's potentially you believe that potentially could be improved, what you could be doing better, and why do you want to get better? Why is this so important to you? And know this, if it is not deep, if it's not greater than you as a whole, if there is something really burning in there, it's going to be hard for you to maintain, to make these changes. Can you start the changes slowly and steady? Right? You can. Now, if you're looking for rapid change, ain't gonna happen, folks, because it's a journey. It's a journey to change. It might have taken, I don't know, 10, 15 years, 20, 30 years of unhealthy habits or weight gain, or feeling, exhausted, fatigued. And we cannot expect the body to rejuvenate like in 30 days, 21 days. That doesn't exist. We got to take, the steps, slowly and steady. Build those habits. Feel confident what you're doing. Measure your improvement. Measure how you feel. Sometimes I tell my clients, they come into this, stepping on this scale every day. And I says, no, we gotta leave the scale behind for a moment over here. We gotta see how you feel, right? We gotta see how you feel, and your clothes is gonna tell you too. So these are things that we gotta say. Do I feel with more energy when I wake up? Do I need that coffee in the middle of the afternoon? Do I feel less irritable? Do I feel less moody? Do I feel more pumped with life, or do I feel depressed, or anxious or not? Those are kind of things. Do I feel like my brain is get more clarity, right? I can focus more? Oh, I'm getting more things done within my waking hours. Those are kind of things that are part of makes us live a better life, right? And the weight is going to come out, when we consistently do it, right? Those little steps related to those 5 big pillars of health: mindset, positive outlook, our sleep, our food, nutrition, our exercise, physical activity, and our stress and anxiety management. So do we handle them all at the same time? No, we're going to pick the battles, right? We're going to pick the battles, and we're going to celebrate every micro win. So you got to figure out what is your macro goal, right? Your macro goal. So then we can establish the micro wins, micro goals to get there. So this is a step-by-step process, and we got to be patient with ourselves. Our body does an amazing job. It wants to heal. It wants to get better. It wants us to thrive. Let's do our part. Let's do our part. So anyway, I kind of share a lot of stuff over here. So let me see. Heather had one more comment. My sugar vice was peanut M&Ms. Yeah, I'm not a good peanut person. Costco size. Yeah. Oh man, everything in Costco is huge, right? So I used to buy other things at Costco too. So God, what is the name of that? It's a fruit little thing that was in small packs. Oh God, I cannot remember. But normally you buy at the store, they're like, they actually make the advertisement, and that is fruit based, but it's full of sugar, and they say there is pure vitamin D, C in there from the fruit, whatever. I cannot make it's sugar or something. I cannot remember the name of that thing. But at Costco, they had a big container like that with 80, I think it was 80 to 100 little bags of 80 calories in there, right? Oh man, I tried myself so many times buying that thing. I don't know, I'm just gonna have 2 or 3, and I'm gonna hide this box, this whole big box, right? Now, oh my God, how many times I'm talking to you, I remember being in front over there on my couch, sitting on my couch in front of TV, and I would just pound that thing, one bag after the other. And then, after I don't know how long, I would see the small little bags, plastic bags on the floor, empty. And I would feel so bad. I would feel, I feel like a failure. I would feel like, first of all, I would feel how bad it was for my stomach. And then a lot of times, unfortunately, what I would do to compensate that addiction, I would go to the bathroom and I would vomit. That was part of my eating disorder. I did that for not only for sugar, for several other foods. And I kept that as a secret to myself for many, many years. I did that in specific, it seems like it went and go into my life. I think it also depended, it was part of, the times in my life when I was feeling secure or confident. And obviously you go through those phases when you're less secure, less confident. And, it's easy to get into the rabbit hole and to stay in that when you're alone, like I was, right? or living alone. That's what I mean. There is no accountability around. In your house, you can do whatever the hell you want. And I did plenty of that. And I would overeat, not only the sugar, but other foods. And I would come home. And I remember many times, you know, I would come and I would binge into this sugary stuff. And I would come home with some left. I would vomit. And then I would consume some more because I wanted to finish. Look at that. I wanted to finish my taste, you know, feeling good about it. But then you knew that I wouldn't have so much into my body. This is disastrous. It was such an emotional roller coaster. It was, you know, and God knows the damage that I've done to my body, because that kind of, you know, practice has immense problems when it gives immense problems to your esophagus, its relationship with cancer, and several other issues in your body. And I hope I haven't damaged enough, you know, my body to create problems. So my mission is really to first is to myself, self-care, and then to help. So looks like I was out for a second over here. Look, it's a journey, and it's challenging, but it's all possible. I'm coming here and speaking about this, and from whatever work with people that I do, from webinars to lives, whatever it is, my mission is really to empower people to, you know, especially those who are so stressed out and who are sugar and carb lovers, I call them, instead of addicts, right? The word is really addict, but some people don't like that word, but really that's how I consider myself, and I still will consider myself forever, because I know I can go back to it in a heartbeat if I would like to, you know. Once an addict, I think it's one, you know, as an addict, my genes are there, so I can just go and poke them by doing this. I don't want to poke them. I want to minimize this poking as much as possible, okay, to minimize my disease or risk for chronic diseases, metabolic diseases, and so on. So it's that's what I want to bring people, empower them to get their vibrancy back, to find their happiness from inside out, to discover themselves, and to really lead a fulfilling life, physically, mentally, and emotionally. We all deserve that, and we're not alone in this world. Nobody can do it all alone. We need to surround ourselves with people who care about the situation. So Heather had one more thing. Let me see what to say. Oh, I think that was it. So Heather, I'm proud of you for not having touched those Costco huge peanut M&Ms in years now. Thank goodness. Yes, thank goodness to us. Look, you and I over here are an example, you know, that this can be done. This can be done, right? It can be done. What it needs is, you know, a little conversation, a little guidance, and consistency, right? It's one step at a time. So that's it, folks. If you want to reach out to me, take a look at bfabbu.com. You know, I'll be glad to talk to you one-on-one on this. Can set an appointment at, you know, no cost. Or if you have any comments in the bottom, leave it. And Heather, thanks for joining and sharing your thoughts over here while I go on this topic today. So have a wonderful day, folks. See you later. Go on and do your best every day. Bye-bye.